The dinosaurs aren't going to survive us, not because we hunted them, not because of a bomb or a virus or a military strike, because of us, the air we breathe, the radiation we live in. The planet's moved on, and they can't move with it, except in a few places near the equator, where the oxygen is still ancient, warm the way it was 60 million years ago. 3 animals are still alive, one in the ocean, one on land, one in the sky. A pharmaceutical company called Parkergenics needs them, not to display, not to study, to save us. We open inside a genetics lab. Scientists are running a hybrid dinosaur through containment protocols. PA announcements loop over each other in the background. Genetic waste to cremation, Tank 12 offline. One scientist admits he doesn't want to kill it. Another says some days he does. Then the D-Rex breaks free and people start dying behind sealed doors. Someone begs desperately for the door to be opened. Nobody opens it. We cut to Brooklyn, where a brachiosaur named Brontobilly has collapsed in an intersection. 40 tons of dying dinosaur with traffic backed up for miles. A New Yorker leans out a window and tells it to rest in peace and get out of the way. This is the world now. Dinosaurs are yesterday's news. They're dying, and people have stopped caring.
Zora Bennett is spec ops, retrievals, extractions, gray area work. The kind of job where you lose people and miss funerals. She missed her own mother's. A man in a suit finds her on the street and drops a coded password to prove he's legitimate. She listens. Parkergenics is developing a drug called paleodioxin that could delay heart disease by 20 years. 1 in 5 people on Earth dies of coronary failure. He tells her to think about someone she loves and imagine giving them an extra 20 years of life. The drug can't be synthesized in a lab. They need samples from living dinosaurs. The biggest ones because the biggest animals had the biggest hearts. 3 targets: Mosasaurus in the ocean, Titanosaurus on land, Quetzalcoatlus in the sky. All 3 exist on one remote equatorial island, a former InGen R&D facility abandoned after an accident. The pay is $10 million. The catch: every government on Earth has outlawed travel there. Zora says they better not tell anyone. And just like that, she's in. Dr. Henry Loomis is a paleontologist watching his museum close down around him. 12 tickets sold last week. He studied under Alan Grant. He hates the jungle, and his actual dream is to die in a shallow sea and be buried by silt. Best chance of fossilization, he explains, completely seriously. The doctor also comes along with them. Duncan Kincaid is an old MARSOC friend who pretends he can't do the job just to drive up the fee. Zora sees through it in about 4 seconds and calls them both out on the spot. Rounding out the crew, Bobby Atwater for security, LeClaire for navigation, Nina for comms. They loop up through Barbados to avoid government patrols. Someone asks why there aren't more patrols out here. The answer is simple. Nobody is dumb enough to go where they're going. 2 days out, a distress signal comes in, 28 miles off course. The team argues. They point out they're 3 minutes from the mosasaur with tens of millions of dollars on the line. The survivors just need to float for a couple of hours. Zora changes course anyway. They pull a family out of the water. Reuben, a father, his teenage daughter Teresa, younger daughter Bella, and her boyfriend Xavier. Their sailboat, the Mariposa, was attacked and completely destroyed. Henry knows exactly what attacked them. Then the tracking software doubles the signal, and someone hopefully suggests it might be echoing off their own boat. It isn't echoing. The Mosasaurus found them. The Mosasaurus surfaces off starboard, 100 feet of ancient ocean predator circling. Henry had been about to take the shot himself. He'd waited his entire career for a moment like this. Then he felt the boat rock beneath him and quietly handed Zora the gun. She fires. The dart sinks 4 inches of hide and the canister self-ejects, launching 200 feet into the air before parachuting back down to the deck. First sample secured. But the danger isn't over.
a pack of Spinosaurus suddenly appears on the surface. These hunters work in perfect symbiosis with the Mosasaurus to take down prey together. Kincaid just mutters that this is deeply discouraging. Bobby starts shooting but soon gets devoured. The boat comes apart and Zora drives them straight into the rocks. The Mosasaur can't follow into shallow water. In the chaos, Teresa goes over the railing. Teresa looks at Krebs, Krebs looks back, and he doesn't save her. She falls into the sea and never forgets that. They all wash up on the island with the first sample still in the case. Nina is killed in the water before they even reach shore. Kincaid keeps calling her name. Zora explains the backup plan. She hired an exfil team to monitor the boat's radio frequency. If they go silent for 24 hours, pilots do a flyby at sunset on the second night. 2 minutes only, then they leave. Someone asks why only 2 minutes? Because pilots want to live too. As they move through the island, Henry explains its real history. InGen didn't just breed dinosaurs here, they experimented. Crossbreeding, genetic modification, anything too malformed or too dangerous for the theme parks. They left it all here. Dawn breaks and the valley opens below them. A herd of titanosaurs, 11 tons each, moving slowly through the trees. While the herd is distracted, Zora takes the shot from the ridge and the second canister floats back down. With 2 samples already in the case, only the sky giant remains. Henry is grinning from ear to ear and can't help it. Zora calls him a secret adrenaline junkie. He doesn't deny it. The Quetzalcoatlus nests 500 feet up a sheer cliff face inside an ancient carved rock ledge. Pterosaurs the size of F-16s with 30-foot wingspans. They can't take a sample from a living adult, so they need an egg. They go down. Henry stares down at 500 feet of empty air and mentions he has a climbing wall in his gym. Kincaid tells him this is exactly like that, except 25 times taller, and if he falls, he dies. Kincaid promises he's got him. At the top, hanging above the island, Henry and Zora argue about what happens after. He wants to open source the drug, give it to every lab on the planet, no patent, no monopoly. He believes
it's all of us, not some of us.
Zora says she'll think about it. Henry grabs the sample, and that's when a Quetzalcoatlus returns to the nest. It attacks. Then it attacks Leclerc. He pulls up the rope. Not enough. Leclerc is gone. The sample canister bounces down the cliff face, and Henry goes after it. Zora screams at him to stop before the rope gives out completely. He catches it, but the rope snaps, and it falls on the tree and then into the water. All 3 samples are in the case. The helipad sits in the middle of a flooded reservoir. The village still alive on geothermal power with lights running on a timer. The group finds Teresa and her father. Teresa sees him and completely loses it. She accuses him of looking right at her and letting her fall into the ocean. Krebs calls her hysterical. She tells him she's not hysterical, she's furious. Krebs smoothly takes the case for Zora, says it looks heavy and offers to keep it safe. Everyone waits. Then the generators kick into high gear as the night cycle begins. Something in the old lab complex starts moving. The mutations, the failed experiments they left behind. They come out after dark and the village erupts into chaos. Bella has been quietly befriending one of the smaller mutations. She named it Dolores. Dolores leads them through tunnels under the facility, all the way down toward the ocean. There's a dock and there's a boat. Krebs grabs the jeep and races for the boat, so Zora runs. The dock gate is sealed and they need power to open it, with the mutation closing in from behind. Bella crawls through a gap in the gate, finds the control panel and gets it open. The boat is on a hoist, but the hoist is jammed. The mutation enters the dock, drawn straight toward the light. Kincaid grabs the flares, runs toward the creature, and pulls every light source toward himself. He tells Zora not to wait, get the kids and go. He leads the mutation away from the dock and into the dark. Kincaid doesn't come back. Zora gets the boat in the water with Reuben at the helm and the family in the hull. No power, paddling in complete darkness. Then a faint light appears on the surface of the water. It's Kincaid. Against all odds, he made it. They pull him in, and in Zora's hands, 3 sample canisters, the Mosasaurus, the Titanosaurus, and the Quetzalcoatlus. Enough to build the drug that could change the world. Before we close out, I've got someone here who has been sitting on thoughts about this film that I genuinely cannot do justice to. She's a film critic, a cultural essayist, and she watched Jurassic World Rebirth twice before I'd even finished my coffee. Vivian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marcus. And I'll say this first. You did the plot beautifully, but I want to talk about what the plot is actually doing. Because on the surface, Jurassic World Rebirth is a mission film. 3 targets, 1 island, get out alive. We've seen that shape before. What we haven't seen is a blockbuster use that shape to ask a question this old and this uncomfortable. Who does the future belong to? The film opens with 2 deaths. The D-Rex kills people behind a sealed door in 2008, and Bronto Billy collapses in a Brooklyn intersection in 2025. These are not random opening images. The first death is caused by human ambition running ahead of human wisdom. The second is ambition's aftermath, something magnificent made possible by science, dying alone on asphalt while a New Yorker tells it to get out of the way. The film is telling you, before a single word of plot has been spoken, that this is a story about what we create, what we abandon, and what we owe. Now, Zora Bennett. She is not, at first glance, a particularly complicated protagonist. She is competent, closed off, and motivated by money. But the film gives her one specific wound. She missed her mother's funeral. Not because she didn't love her mother, because the job came first, and the job always came first. That detail is doing enormous structural work, because paleodioxin, the drug they are risking their lives for, delays heart disease by 20 years. Heart disease, the most common cause of death on the planet. The woman who couldn't make it to her own mother's funeral is being asked to buy 1 billion strangers 20 more years with theirs. That is not a coincidence. That is a writer making the protagonist's wound the entire moral stakes of the film.
Then there is Loomis. Henry Loomis is the film's most underestimated character. He is presented as comic relief, the bumbling academic who dreams of dying in a shallow sea for optimal fossilization. But Loomis is the film's moral compass, and the film buries that deliberately. He is the only character who states the theme out loud. Science is for all of us, not some of us. And he says it 500 feet in the air, dangling above an island full of things trying to kill him. In other words, the film gives its most important line to its least heroic-looking character, in the most physically precarious moment possible. It is daring the audience to dismiss it. Most blockbusters hide their thesis in the climax. This one hides it in a joke character hanging off a cliff. And the dinosaurs themselves. This is the part that I think is genuinely radical for this franchise. For 30 years, the Jurassic films have treated dinosaurs as threat. Spectacle, yes, occasionally sympathetic, but fundamentally danger. Rebirth makes them patience. They are dying. They need the same thing we need. Their biology, the biology we spent decades fearing, is the only thing that can save us. The Mosasaurus that hunts the team at sea is also the source of the compound that might extend 1 billion human lives. The film refuses to let you hate it. It refuses to let you love it uncritically either. It just asks you to reckon with it. That is a sophisticated thing to ask of a summer blockbuster audience. Finally, the ending. Zora chooses open source. No patent, no monopoly, every lab on Earth gets the formula. And the film presents this as heroic. But think about what it's actually saying. A pharmaceutical company funded the entire mission. They paid for the boat, the team, the risk. And Zora, a private contractor with no mandate and no authority, decides unilaterally that the results belong to humanity. In a different film, she would be the villain. Here, she is the hero, because the film has spent 2 hours building the argument that some things are too important to be owned. Zora's decision is not just generous, it is the logical conclusion of everything she has witnessed. What happens when science is caged behind a wall, behind a patent, behind a price tag? You get an island full of abandoned experiments. You get a dying brachiosaur blocking traffic in Brooklyn. You get a mother's funeral you never made it to. Jurassic World Rebirth is not a perfect film, but it is an honest one. And in a franchise built on spectacle, honesty is the rarest thing of all.
Thank you, Vivian. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more recaps and analysis. That's it from us. See you next week.